Welcome back everyone to the davidarute Racing channel. Got exciting news for the video today. This will be the first time showing you guys this new car here in the shop on the channel, and I'm excited to get working on it with you guys. You'll see a lot of work has been done to it, but today we are tackling one of the bigger projects. Here it is, the brand new modified build right here in the shop. As you can see, we already got a lot of stuff put onto the car. We are getting this car together ever so slowly, but today we're working on one of the bigger projects, and that's what I wanted to go over with you guys and show you what we do. And that is the fuel system, from the fuel cell to the fuel lines and everything in between. Let's head over to the bench and check out what we're gonna be putting on this car for a fuel system. Now here we have everything laid out that will be going on the car for the fuel system. We are using ATL Fuel Cells and Fragola performance fittings for all of our fuel line, as well as the Aeromotive fuel filter and Peterson shutoff. So we have all these items laid out, what we're gonna be using, and we're gonna be putting it onto the new car. But first, I wanna show you guys exactly what's inside the fuel tank and dive deeper into what we're gonna be using for fuel line. Before we actually get to building these fuel lines, I wanted to show you guys the fuel cell bladder. Now, like I said, I am using the ATL Fuel Systems. This bladder I use is the Supercell 100 series. Now, this is a 3-layer ballistics nylon bladder. It is very flexible, very difficult to penetrate and have any objects pierce it and cause any leaks. It is also encased in this steel can. This is a specific bladder that meets the requirements to race here at Stafford Speedway weekly. We allow a couple of different options. I have always used the Supercell 100 series. Not only is it a very safe bladder, it also comes with this steel can to keep it protected and keep any objects from going in there and piercing the bladder. So I already went ahead, installed the fuel pickup line that runs down to the right side corner where the scavenge jet is molded into the bottom of this bladder. So all we have to do now is throw the top back on this, bolt it back down, and then we'll have our fuel cell itself ready to go. Now that we have the top plate bolted down on the cell, I want to show you guys this fill plate. So there are 4 outlet options. One is a vent that has the check valve, a ball valve, in case you flip over to seal off any of the fuel escaping. The others are for the Dash 8 pickup that we run, a dipstick, and you could run a second return line, but we don't do that with our systems. We just cap this bulkhead once we're done here. So we'll go ahead, line up this gasket, start bolting this down. Now that we have the fuel cell put together, we could go over how we are going to run the fuel line out of the top of this fill plate. This fuel cell is going to sit in the race car just as it is, where this is the right rear. Our fuel pickup line comes out of this Dash 8 fitting. We are then going to run a 90, just like so, to the fuel filter that we're going to mount right to the side of this bracket into what will be a straight. We have our fuel line here. All these fuel lines and fittings I'm using are the Fragola performance fittings, crimp-on fuel fittings. So we're gonna cut everything to length, and then we'll go head over to the crimp machine I have here in the corner, and we'll crimp these lines together. Wow, this one's gonna be difficult. So I'm just using this tape as a guide of where I'm gonna cut this fuel line. Just trying to leave enough play where if I need to move the filter to here, it's not kinking the hose, or I can move it all the way to this end. Right there seems to be the best spot. Now that we got this marked, go ahead and disconnect this one. Just use a sharp utility knife, cut this right in half. And now we have our first hose that we can crimp together. So there we have our first line. I'm not gonna crimp it just yet. Let's go ahead, bring the entire fuel cell over to the car and get it placed in there so we can see where these fuel lines are gonna end up. All right, I got you guys at the back of the car now. We'll bring this fuel tank over. We still have some work to do on mounting the cell into the car itself. Usually these cars run a 22-gallon cell, but we figured out we don't need to run that big of a fuel tank, save some weight in the rear to put it somewhere else. So we are running a 12-gallon fuel cell. While I'm waiting for material to come in, I'm just gonna build out these fuel lines so we're one step closer. Okay. So I have this front edge of the tank right flush with the mounting points here. So now we got this short line made. Let's go ahead and figure out what we're gonna put for this next line. And this next line is gonna be the longest run on the car. We have to go from this fuel filter here, up to here, cross and all the way up to the front of the car, where we're then gonna put this fuel shutoff. So I gotta get up, thinking maybe we'll run a 45. Okay, let's see. We'll try a straight fitting. That 45 just didn't look right when I had it on the car. Okay, so we could run a straight, and then this fuel line is gonna go to here. Now, to here. In my other car, the fuel line is run on the outside of the roll cage, which I wasn't the biggest fan of. God forbid a race car gets in there and the front bumper pinches this fuel line, it could cut it and cause a fire. So I wanted to run the fuel line right along this door bar here, leaving it long enough where if we do end up putting a 22-gallon cell, I could just disconnect this hose, put it to the top of the bracket here, and it'll still be plenty long. I do have to decide exactly where I'm gonna drill the hole for this fuel shutoff. I think I'm gonna end up trying to put it right here on this curved piece. So we'll go ahead and try to drill out a hole. We're gonna need a hole saw probably. So if we're gonna have fuel shut off, battery shut off, brake bias, I guess as long as they're all in line, it should be okay. On the other cars, this is 4 1/4 down and 2 1/2 in. We're gonna go right there. As much as it pains me to drill into my brand new race car, here we have it. There we go. I got the fuel shut off mounted into the cockpit now, all bolted down. You can see it on the back side here now. Now we have to run the fuel line from the fuel filter outlet right there, down the frame rail to this fuel shut off. My plan is to run 145 here down to the fuel line. I'm hoping that the 45 will work. If not, I could run a straight line. So here we have it from the inside of the car now. Yeah, I think that will work. Oh man. Change of plans in here now. I was originally gonna put the 45 on this spot, but there's not enough clearance with this tin work. So just gonna run the straight line just like so, then I'll have it against this bar here all the way back, past the battery to the fuel cell in the back. Now I got that line marked, I'm gonna pull it back off, bring it back over to the table where we will trim it to size and then bring it over to the crimping machine. I use a piece of tape on the line just to kind of hold the fabric together when you cut it, because if not, it tends to flare apart. So let's go ahead. Yeah, right here. Just like so. Now we have both fuel lines cut to size with the fittings pushed on. Time to head over to the crimp machine, crimp these on for good, and then install them one last time on the car. Let's head over here to my crimping machine. Go ahead and throw down a fresh layer of dye grease. Grease on that as well. We have fresh grease on the crimp die. Now we'll go ahead, throw our first line in here, just like so. Then we have the clamp ring, cone, and we just gotta set this over here on my note. This gets set to 0.25, and I have my pump over here. We're gonna go ahead and pump it down until we see this light turn on. We're just waiting for that light to turn on. Oops. There we go. Release the pressure, pop this off, pop this off. Then we'll go ahead and just double check our work. It's supposed to be 0.748 to 0.9. Nice, we got 0.759. Yep, that's within the parameter. So I could actually set this to go off a little sooner. Really great. So 0.35. Now let's go ahead and get to the other side here. This one we got to pop half the die out. We'll zero it, and then we're gonna double check our work here. 0.768, perfect. So there we have our first completed hose. This is the short hose. I'll go ahead, crimp the other hose now, and we'll put these back on the car. Now that we got these crimped, we could put them back onto the car. Fuel cell to fuel filter, which we still have to mount. My plan is to mount this to the cross brace, the straps that go on the tank to hold it in place. Like I said, I'm still waiting on some parts to come in for that. Just enough space to put that fuel cap back on. And then we'll run our big line from the filter up to the shutoff that's inside the car. Just like so. Do that right here. And then we'll zip tie this up to the car here, just like so, giving us enough slack for when we run a bigger fuel cell. So let me go grab some zip ties. All right, now we could zip tie this to this bar here. Nothing else will be running along this bar, which is good. Now we finished the fuel line from the fuel cell up to the shutoff. Now we just have to build the last line, which would then go to the fuel pump. Obviously right now we do not have an engine in the car, so it's kind of a guessing game. We run a mechanical fuel pump on our engines, so the fuel pump is right at the front right side of the engine. As long as I run this fuel line up to where the motor plate sits on the front, it should be plenty long. So let's go ahead and build this last fuel line, and that's kind of all we can do from there. Once the engine comes back, we can run the fuel line that will go from the fuel pump up to the carburetor, and we'll complete the whole system. Let's build this last fuel line. Just finished crimping the last hose here. We'll go ahead and hook it back up to the shutoff. And it will run right up to here where the fuel pump will be once we get our engine installed. So it'll end up being something just like that. Now that we've finished up that last fuel line, that is all we could do to the front of the car. We have one more line to build at the back of the car, and that is the fuel vent. So let's go ahead to the back of the race car and finish this project. Now that we're at the back of the car again, we go over the last hose that we need. When the fuel cell was up on the table, I told you how we are only using 2 of these fittings. I told you how we're only using 2 of these bulkhead fittings. One for the fuel line, one for the fuel outlet, and one for the vent. So we will have to cap this fitting. So we're gonna have to cap this fitting. Go ahead and throw this cap on here. Actually, we are using 3, I just lied to you guys. I just remembered this one is going to be for the dipstick. I am still waiting for that to come in. But in the meantime, we could build the vent hose. This will be a -6 vent hose that then goes to the back panel on the race car. I'm gonna head over to the other car for reference to see what the measurement has to be to build this out. Well, I got the vent line cut to size and the fittings just pressed on the end for now. I'm gonna put this on here to show you guys where it's going. From the bulkhead out of the fill plate to the back panel where a bulkhead will be going through the back panel. I'm not gonna crimp this right now, just in the chance that I have to cut this shorter when the body gets installed. Now that will complete our entire fuel system here on the race car, going from the ATL fuel cell through the Fragola fittings, fuel filter, shutoff, and all the way up to the fuel pump. Now there's one more line to build when the engine is installed, but that will be built at a future date. We are one step closer to completing this car, and there is still a lot of work left to do. But thank you to everyone watching today's video and my sponsors, Monaco Ford, Pabst Blue Ribbon, and everyone else that's involved. I appreciate everyone's support. If you want to see a video of the complete breakdown of an expense to build a brand new SK Modified, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. That would greatly help out a lot. There's still a lot more items to put together on this car, but we're gonna get it done. Thank you guys for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed how to put together the fuel system on a new race car and crimping the lines. Thank you for watching. Throttle down and see you guys at the races.